This conference will now be recorded.
There we go. It took a couple clicks to get to wake up some. Hey, so good morning, everyone. Thank you for signing on this morning with us, and especially thank you to Ms. Donaldson with the Better Business Bureau Educational Foundation for joining us this morning on some of the top scams of 2020 in the series of our community conversations. We're actually hoping to have a few more topics in the upcoming month or so with them again, and we look forward to this partnership. And it's a pleasure working together. Just a few key points on Ms. Donaldson. Monde Donaldson is the VP of the Better Business Bureau Educational Foundation of Central and South Alabama. In this position, she creates awareness for the BBB by building relationships with business leaders, community partners, and the general public through educational programs. As a Mobile native, she came to the Better Business Bureau after spending 27 years at Spring Hill College in the Advancement Division. In 2006, she was named Fundraiser of the Year by the Mobile chapter of the Association of Fundraising Professionals. She also led development efforts at McGill-Tulane Catholic High School for 10 years. Before coming to Spring Hill, she worked at the University of Alabama, Roll Tide, or War Eagle, whichever one you prefer, the Anderson Star, and Pensacola New Journal. She is a 1975 graduate of the University of Alabama, where she served as editor of the student newspaper, the Crimson White. Her civic involvement includes Rotary Club Mobile, the Mobile Area Chamber of Commerce, Small Business Council, and vice president of the Diocese Mobile Catholic Foundation Board. So, Ms. Donaldson, if you are ready to go, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, are you all right? We're ready. You ready, Will?
Ready to go.
Okay. So good morning, everybody. I'm Monde Donaldson, and so Will, we just go on to number 2 so they can see what I look like there. I'm Monde Donaldson, as Will said, Vice President of the BBB Educational Foundation. I have been with the BBB for about 18 months and loved every minute of it, because what I do now is just go out and really educate people on scams they need to be watching out for, and also learning how to promote trust in the marketplace, because that's what the BBB is all about. We've been around for 100 years. We've been in Alabama since 1954. There are 2 offices of our BBB, one in Birmingham, which is the main office. There are about 23 people up there, and then 2 people down here in Mobile, but we are in close contact with our folks in Birmingham on a daily basis. So what we do is the BBB accredits businesses. So what we look for are in business is trust in the marketplace, as I said, and people that follow good business practices. You have to have been in business for 6 months to be a member of the BBB. You can't have people that are incorporating or owning your business that were just getting out of jail last week in Georgia, or they were just in business in Georgia under a different name. So we really vet our businesses that have become accredited businesses, ABs, that's what we call them. And we have 98 ABs in Etowah County. So I'm really happy to be here with y'all. As Will mentioned, I worked at the Anderson Star many years ago, so I'm a little familiar with the area, and I'm just glad to have the opportunity to speak to y'all and let you know some things you need to watch out for. Okay, Will? So scams basically erode trust, and what I said a minute ago is BBB is all about trust. You like to do business with folks that you know that you can trust, whether if it's an exchange policy or how they treat you when you come into a store. So what scammers really do is they get you to trust them, and if they somehow talk to you a little bit or make you think it's a deal too good to be true, and people just fall for it all the time. And in these days, we're getting more and more messaging, whether it might be from emails, from Facebook, from text. And so a lot of scams that are happening now, they weren't even talked about or heard of maybe 5-10 years ago, because they're using all these different social media venues to get to you, or not just you, but maybe your grandmother, your next door neighbor, because I would guess that probably everybody on this call either knows somebody who's been scammed or they've been scammed themselves. Okay, well, so I'm going to tell you how you can track scams. I have a couple of slides on this. This is called Scam Tracker. So it's a national thing we have where you can see, as you see the little dots there, you can look for scams, and 21.8% of the people that have used this tool feel like it has helped them avoid losing money. So this is a heat map, and you can use it to zoom in to Gadsden, and you can see just how what's going on there. So if you'll go to number 5, yes. So there is, if you want to jot that down, bbb.org/scam tracker. If you want to go back after this presentation and look to see if there's particularly something going on in your area, or if you've heard of something, or your mother lives in Huntsville and you've heard something might have been going on up there, or we encourage you to report scams. If somebody keeps calling you and saying they're from the Social Security, well, just let us know that, because that way you're really helping somebody else if you're reporting. And it's a great tool if you want to keep looking, if you just want to search around and see what's going on in your area. And you can report a scam, as you can see that little right-hand button up there. Okay, Will. So what Will asked me to talk about was the scams of 2020. And that's what I'm going to do at the beginning here. And then after that, I'm going to go into 2019. So really, a lot of these things I'm going to talk about are things that have really popped up since March, since so many of us have been affected by the coronavirus scams. We do have, the BBB does have much more substantiated information from 2019, because every year we gather up all the statistics from all the BBBs all across the United States and Mexico and Canada, and we compile everything. So you'll see some slides a little bit later on that have very documented statistics. So I don't have statistics for the first 6 months, but I can give you a guide on what things are hot right now. Okay, Will. So here's what we know right now. Online sales, which should be no surprise, more and more people are shopping online these days. Economic impact payments, people try to scam a lot, particularly the elderly, try to steal people's checks, stimulus checks. They, as you know, probably a lot of people y'all got credit cards. Some people may have gotten credit cards to use, debit cards to use for the economic impact payments. We saw a big rise in people trying to calling saying, can we help you get your economic impact payment? Bogus companies trying to steal these unknowing victims, trying to get their personal information, and in turn, getting the money put in the scammer's account rather than the person who was supposed to get them. Phishing scams, big these days. Government impersonation, I think I mentioned that before. Social Security, IRS, I know y'all all get calls from them daily. Of course, none of them are real. Employment scams has been very high as well. With employment scams, what we've seen is a lot of work from home opportunities, or perhaps somebody asking you to pay to be trained. So, if you've never been a forklift operator or a manager of a distribution center or work in a distribution center, it's kind of odd that out of nowhere that you would get hired to be as a manager in a distribution center. I mean, that's the kind of the crazy ads that people are getting hired, but they say, well, if you'll just pay us a little bit, we'll train you and then you can come on in. Well, there is no job, there is no training. And what we tell people to do is go to the real company's real website. Like if it's Ace Hardware Distribution Center, go click on Ace Hardware Distribution Center, because whoever sent it to you may have just put Ace's Hardware Hardware Distribution Center. They use a little variation of a real company, but if you really want to check out a job, go to that company's real website. Shortage scams. I mean, I must say that this week I went and paid this ridiculous price for some Clorox wipes. I'm sure I paid too much. I'm sure you all know people that have paid too much for something, whether it was COVID related or not, but there's a lot of price gouging going on right now. Brushing, you probably never even heard that word when it comes to scams. It's just popped up in the past month or two. That's where a bunch of Amazon packages might show up at your house. And y'all may have heard it also related to the seed. A lot of people started getting seeds in the mail. Some people got masks in the mail they didn't order. That's what's called brushing. So what they're trying to do is steal your get some personal information, because somehow they know where you live and your street address. And then some people are using it for fake reviews. So if you get merchandise like that, actually you can keep it. The Federal Trade Commission does allow you to keep the item. But if you have any more questions on brushing, I will be happy to answer that a little later on, or you can contact me directly, because that is something that actually I talked about on TV this week. And we do have a spot on WERC every other week in Birmingham every Monday morning, and we go over a lot of topics. And I believe my colleague Garrett spoke about that one as well lately. Phony cures, we're going to protect you from COVID. I'm sure you've seen ads on Facebook. I'm sure you've seen ads on TV. Then you also see things like anti-aging creams and lose weight quick, stuff like that. There again, type in the name of the company and then type the word reviews after it or scams after it to see if anything pops up. Just don't order something because, hey, this looks good, because if it looks too good to be true, I'm sure y'all all heard that story so many times. If it looks too good to be true, it probably is. So there again, check each item, everything you see, just check it. Okay, well, so I mentioned online scams are very high. So I'm gonna have to kind of look over this a little bit as I spoke to you. So many people are shopping online. Clothing, home furniture, and medical and nutrition things are the kinds of items that people are buying online. So many people are scared to go to the store, or they want to limit the amount of time they're in stores. So that's why we're having such a big boom. And I know y'all see the UPS, the FedEx trucks coming down your street time after time these days. Some people have also gotten scammed with puppy scams and pet supplies. Puppy scams, everything, y'all probably heard of those. You see these great pictures of these cute little puppies. You think, and you're lonely and you want a pet. My daughter adopted a cat during the pandemic. And then when not my daughter, she got her cat, but people order a puppy, they tell them, oh no, it's going to cost a little bit more to get it to you. Oh no, there's been a holdup. And of course, there is no puppy, and 5 other people around the country have supposedly bought the same puppy. There again, you can see some of the other things, cosmetics, automotive, Will's showing you there's several different scams. So if you want to know a little bit more about how many people would take a call for these scams and what the law says, there it is on each item. Okay, Will. Okay, this is something that is, if we had to say the #1 scam in Alabama right now, if I had to say a company that is scamming so many people, is this company called US Footwear. These people reported were in Trustful. They had a street address that belonged to a person who had no relation to them. It was just a residential street address. These people had no idea who they were. They don't know how these people from US Footwear picked them. So as you can see, we had 200 customer complaints since April 28th. They've been F-rated since May 28th. And on this one, the FBI is actually involved. One of the sneaky things they did, they asked you to only pay with PayPal. And they also kept all their items under $100. So they were advertising everything from above ground pools to blenders to fitness wear and 3-wheel bicycles for adults. And most of their advertising was on Facebook. So most people are not getting their money back because they paid through PayPal. So if you know anybody that's bought anything from US Fitwear, the chances they're going to get any money back are very, very slim. But please tell them to continue to report it to the FBI, to your local police, to the BBB, because these people need to actually be found and put in jail. All right, the next one, I like this slide too. About what do these businesses have in common? And you may have seen this one on TV up there as well. The Hoover Police Department actually, and I know they're down the road from y'all a bit, but the Hoover Police Department sent out an alert like 2 or 3 weeks ago on these companies. These companies, they listed their address as Birmingham. If you go to their website, there was no street address. There was very little information on the about part of the company. So 3 of them are furniture stores. One that was supposedly school supplies. None of the furniture was ever delivered. And so that's why it's important to check these companies out. And there again, this company really discouraged payment with credit cards. They wanted you to pay with debit cards or so that, because credit card transactions you have a better chance of getting your money back with credit cards. But you have to file for, to report it as fraud, and they know that most people will not take the time to continue to report it. All right, Will, if you want to go to the next one. So here's a slide on who's gotten scammed, what their ages, what the age groups look like, what the money looks like, how they've been contacted. There again, I think you'll see down on the bottom right that websites were the first, I believe the first one, social media, and then emails drop down to number 3. That gives you some statistics on the percentage of people, and as you can see, very high, 68% of the people who felt like they lost some money. Okay, Will? So there again, I want you to encourage you to use Scam Tracker. We believe that Scam Tracker saved $42 million in 2019. And Scam Tracker, a lot of people, they're embarrassed. They don't want to come tell people they don't want to talk about it. But if you don't talk about it, how's anybody else going to know? And if you don't report it to the media, or you don't report it to your neighbor or your friend, these people are just, they keep going and they keep getting more and more bold. Okay, Will, go ahead. So I'm going to kind of switch my focus a little bit now to 2019. The number 1 scam was employment scams. Number 2, and this is a big change, was cryptocurrency. That wasn't even in the top 10 last in 2018. So let's dive into these. All right, Will. Okay, so here they are. Employment scams, number 1 for ages 18 through 54, and that's all across the board, men, women, students, and military spouses. And then as you can see, the stats shown here, they're even riskier than they had been before. Most everything is growing. And I think I've mentioned most of these type scams before. Romance scam I really haven't touched on yet, but that is a scam that really seems to hit the over 55 group a lot more, because a lot of people are just lonesome, and then people start sending them emails or text, and they've got a relationship going with somebody and they really don't. Internet scams, things like that. I'm sure you've heard of things like that before. So, all right, Will, if you'll go to the next. So the number 1 riskiest scam, I'm going to tell you, so that was, yeah, as I said, unemployment. And so I think, all right, I may be off one. Okay, go ahead, Will, go to the next one. Yes, okay, here we are. So cryptocurrency, and I don't know how many of y'all are even familiar with that word. It was not something that I was accustomed to till about a year or 2 ago. So first I'm going to tell you what cryptocurrency is, just to make sure you all know what it is. It's a digital or virtual currency that is secured by cryptography, and it makes it nearly impossible to counterfeit or double spend. So it's very complicated. You don't touch anything. But as you can see, it is the #2 scam for ages 25 to 54 and men. And the median loss is very high, $3,000 compared to $900 the year before. It's grown so much that BBB actually has just a whole link that you can go back and learn more about it. So there it is down at the bottom. Visit bbb.org/cryptocurrency. And a lot of people use this. It's a combination of situations. 1/3 used it. They used it involving the purchase of cryptocurrencies as a form of payment for goods, services, or cash. And then another group used 23.4% people were involved using the purchase of digital assets and investment opportunities. You know, I would be very wary of cryptocurrency. There are popping up cryptocurrency storefronts all around the state. There is one in Mobile. I'd have to check. You could Google cryptocurrency Gadsden if you really wanted to see one, if there was one in the Gadsden, Anniston area. So that's just something to be on the watch for, because you're going to hear a lot more about that. All right, well, online purchases. I've talked about that a couple of times already. As you can see how high this is, 24.3. It's up from 2018. Look at that. There again, highest acceptability, 81.2, and it had grown from 75. Nearly a quarter of the scams that reported to BBB Scam Tracker in 2019 were online purchase scams, and 4 out of 5 people reported losing money. I think you ladies have seen things like this for years, where you think you're buying a Marc Jacobs bag, or you're buying some high-end purse or Kate Spade or something like that. And then of course, you know, when you get it, or you get a watch, and sometimes it's not what you think it would be. But you're seeing a lot more messaging on Facebook of people trying to sell products that don't exist. They can't meet the demand of what is being ordered. It's not what's being advertised. So, and then there again, this spring, people have been buying everything you can think of. Grocery deliveries are really high now. They're fine. I'm not saying grocery deliveries aren't fine, but you know, the number of people ordering groceries online is jumped off the charts this year. So when people are ordering medicine, they're ordering dog food, they're ordering everything not to go out. So be very wary of any online purchases. Okay, next. Then I was going to talk about the riskiest scams by age, because this is really interesting. If you see employment there, ages 25 to like the 50s, employment, no, 44, 18 to 44 is employment scams. Well, actually, yeah, to 55. Employment is there again. People have been laid off, or they're trying to find things. If you're all of a sudden having to teach your child from home, maybe the mother or the dad needs to find some work from home. Very high on employment scams. Travel vacation scams took the #1 spot for the consumers ages 65 and up. Romance scams, yes, I mentioned those a minute ago. #1 for ages 55 to 64. Employment scams, 18 to 54. And then the cryptocurrency were ages 25 to 54. And then investment scams, that was #2 for ages 25 to 54. And investment scams, #2 for ages 45 to 64. And I've actually got 2 great presentations on investment scams that the BBB does offer, how to spot a con and fighting financial fraud, that we really deal in depth on ways to tell people to look for like we call the red flags of fraud, actually, when it comes to investment scams. Okay, and I see we get some chats over here, some comments and some questions, and I'm so thrilled to see everybody be so involved. So I'll take those at the end. And I do talk fast, so I can slow down a little bit. Okay, so Will, if you want to go to the next one. Okay, so we see a big difference between older adults and younger adults and the number of dollars lost. And so different age groups are susceptible, and they're being targeted by these scammers as well. So you can see what the loss looks like and the susceptibility. And I will say in the younger folks, and I think Rebecca brought this up earlier about college scams. The younger folks, you know, they've never had to handle their own money, and they do get a lot of messaging from Facebook or Twitter and things, and so they don't take the time sometimes to research a product. And what we see a lot in the college students too is fake rentals in apartments and things like that, fake student loans. There's quite a bit of things you see in the younger generation. And in the older generation, you see more things like the romance scams, the investment scams. There's a situation that I was speaking here in Mobile a couple of months ago, sitting, and these people were telling me about a story how everybody in their Sunday school group had been conned by one person, because he got one person to do it, and then another person did it, and then another person did it, and then that person never got caught because nobody ever reported him to any, and he just moved to another county, and so they probably think he's doing the same thing again. But they trusted this man, they knew this man, he told them what they were doing would be a good investment, and everyone in this little group lost their money. Okay, Will, if you want to go to the next one. This is showing the risk by gender. Let's see. The susceptibility of men and women is pretty close. Women remained a little bit lower than men. What we found in the investment scams, where they were mostly men over 55. And then right now you're seeing a little bump in those as well, because people are afraid, and so they're hearing about things that if they can hold on to their money, or that it might be a little more secure. So I would warn you, if anybody you know is being getting some messaging from some kind of investment scams, and they're telling you to act now or sign up quickly or things like that, that's a big red flag. You know, if you're trying to make an investment scheme, talk to your broker, talk to your attorney. Don't make quick decisions. And there again, back to the younger kids, that's why they probably have a little bit, they're just making quick investments. There again, men, employment, cryptocurrency, investment. Women, employment, romance, online purchases. I don't think those are a surprise to anybody here except for the cryptocurrency. Okay, Will. Loss of money. There's what the big loss is. Women are lower, and there you can see exactly what the breakdown is and how they're getting the messaging. Okay, if you want to go to the next one. There's the payment with the loss, credit card, online payments, you know, getting money straight out of your bank accounts, wire transfers, and there's a little cryptocurrency just edging themselves in there over to the right. Okay, next. Yeah, the top impersonated organizations. I really love this one because I know all of you have gotten calls from Social Security, from the IRS, from Publishers Clearinghouse. We've had so many people come into our office and call us and say they won the Publishers Clearinghouse. But the con there is they want them to pay a fee to get their big payment. You know, that's just a scam. Publishers Clearinghouse, Amazon, AT&T, a lot of those places, they have their own scam tracker hotline numbers because they get so many people who say, you know, they're from Publishers Clearinghouse. Social Security no government agency will ever call you. If you're getting an email from somebody who says they're with Social Security, always look for the .gov at the end of any email. There again, as I mentioned earlier, sometimes they'll add another little letter to make you think it's real. If you're looking at websites in general though, and you see an HTTPS, look for that when you're when you're going online and Googling things, because the S means secure. Okay, I think that's really important for you to think about. You know, people say they've gotten messages. They've even said that the Better Business Bureau, that's them calling or they're trying to get you to do something. We've gotten scams that people are reporting to be the Better Business Bureau, the post office, Walmart, Netflix, Apple. You know, a lot of, as I said, a lot of the computer HP, you'll get messaging and people get scared, particularly older people who are maybe not so familiar or confident in their computer uses. You know, a friend of mine, her mother, who was elderly at the time, you know, got something saying there was something wrong with the computer, and if she would just pay $200, they could fix her computer for her. Well, her computer wasn't broken. They didn't fix it, and they got her credit card information and got a lot of money from her. This is a very intelligent woman, but she fell for it. It happens all the time. And y'all may, another organization in Alabama that has reported this to us recently actually is Alabama Power. They sent out a press release themselves saying, if you get calls saying saying they're from Alabama Power and that to pay your phone bill right now or it's going to be turned off, that is a scam. And these people have been calling restaurants and businesses in the middle of the day, telling them if they don't pay their bill within the next hour or two, they're going to cut it off. So, you know, a manager on duty or somebody like that, they pay the company, they make the payment the way the caller tells them to make it. Well, that's not, Alabama Power doesn't call you in the middle of your lunch hour and tell you to pay your bill. That would be not normally the way you would be paying your power bill. That should have been a red flag. So there again, that's something all of y'all know. Alabama Power happened happening right here in our own backyard with companies that you're familiar with. Okay, next. So here's just some tips for you. You know, never send money to someone you don't know that you haven't met face to face. Facebook Marketplace is probably something that y'all all heard about. And so I tell people to be wary of that. We had a gentleman down here who thought he was buying a motorcycle that he was purchasing off Facebook Marketplace. You know, there was no motorcycle. The man disappeared that he was dealing with and had sent his money with, all gone. Don't click on links or that you don't recognize. Stay with what you know. Don't believe everything you see. And I've just said that a couple of times already. If it seems too good to be true, it is. When buying online, look for the HTTPS. Go and type the name of the company and type the word reviews, scams, look around. If it's something that you know your neighbor bought one, then ask your neighbor. I mean, I think the whole thing about scams is, you know, these people build some trust. And so I know that Will would say this too. The BBB really encourages people to shop local and support your local economy. And I know the small businesses and all businesses really need your support right now. So if you can shop locally, do that with people that you know that are your neighbor or your friend or from your church. Be cautious when dealing with anybody you meet online. This goes back to the romance scams. It's just rampant. Never share any personal information with anybody. I can't stress enough about that. Don't do anything under pressure. I mentioned that already. Use secure, traceable transactions when making payments. I encourage you to use your credit cards when you can. That is the best way to do it. If you're not doing it by that, get some kind of receipt. Deal with companies that you are familiar with. I can't tell you how many ads I'm seeing now for masks. It's a constant messaging on Facebook every day on companies I've never heard of. But boy, that price looks good, or that sure is a cute mask. But be wary of things. There again, be wary of things that look too good to be true, and to be cautious about what you share on social media. Don't be putting, "I'm going to North Carolina on August 30th and staying for a week." I mean, that lets people know your house is empty. I even know when I came back from my last trip, I didn't post a picture till I got back. You just can't let people know your business, and just be wary about things. Giving out too much information, even standing in a store saying, "I'm going to be gone from August 30th." You don't know who's standing behind you. So I hope some of these tips have been helpful to you, or you can pass them on to somebody that you know. I often say that you have to learn to say no, whether it be passing up an item that you get a solicitation for, but even on the phone, there's so much solicitations by telephone these days. And we in the South, we like to be polite and nice, and we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But this is your money, this is your livelihood. It could be your nest egg. So just say, "I'm sorry." Don't answer the phone if it's not a number you don't recognize. I can't tell you. That's probably a #1 rule. Should have been at the top of this list. Don't answer the phone if you don't know the number. If it's important, the people will call back and leave you a message. So, just be careful, go slow, say, if you're not interested, just stop and say, just hang up, don't answer anything. Just learn to say no. I think any police office, sheriff's office, the FBI, they would say the same thing. All right, next. Here's some quick tips for businesses. Train and inform your employees about scams and things to watch for. Some of these things have come up more during the pandemic. Learning to verify invoices and payments. A lot of people are working from home, so they're not there. Maybe their normal files and things are not in front of them. So they may get an invoice from some paper company, and they really didn't order the paper. It hasn't come. They don't know. They're not there. They don't know if this paper has come or been delivered or not. They might get an email from somebody, a person saying, "Hey, I've just taken over this route. We've got a great deal on bottled water. Would you like to, we want to sell you some." Well, that person's not working for Kentwood or any other water company. It's just somebody trying to get your employee to make a payment. If you have any, I would tell you to tell your employees if they have any doubt about the credibility of anything, that they need to be contacting a manager. We had 2 instances down here in Baldwin County recently where 2 businesses were scammed pretty badly because somebody called and said they were the district. One called and said they were a district manager from Dollar General, and the other one called and said they were they were a member of the Orange Beach Police Department. So 2 businesses that I'm aware of got taken pretty badly during the day from scammers. and then keep everything safe and have a cybersecurity plan. I hope you have those kinds of things in place if you have employees working from home, because that is very, very crucial. Okay, next. So here's some things that you can do. And I appreciate y'all's patience in listening to this, and I'm hoping you're getting a lot out of it. You can download the risk report on that bbb.org/risk report. That is for the 2019 scams. We'll have the same report in January of next year on 2020, but I can assure you everything I hit on earlier in the presentation will be there. You know, you can share stories with people. Talk to people about what you heard today so that they can be aware of things. And then you can report things to Scam Tracker. And then the Scam Tracker again was bbb.org/scam tracker. All right, next. Here's our contact information. As I mentioned, we have a Birmingham office. We're right there in Southside, right near UAB. We're open 5 days a week. We have operators on duty every day from 9 to 3, except for Fridays during the summer, it's 9 to 12. And so if you have a question about a business at any time, you can call us anytime at all, and we can help you. If you want to check the licensing, if you want to know if a company is licensed, if you want to know if you're looking for a roofer or a plumber and you want to find out what businesses are BBB accredited, you can come to our website or call us, and we can help you with that. If you want to file a complaint against a company, we can help you with that. So there again, there's all our contact information. bbb.org/CSAL is our website. We have a great Facebook page that we put up things daily on scams that are going on. We will recognize our members quite often as well. We have a Twitter account, and we have just are putting up our Instagram page as we speak. We just hired a marketing person this is their second week. So watch for our Instagram page. You can join it now. I don't think we've actually started posting, but we will be starting having posts on that very, very soon. All right, next, Will. There's my contact information. And that number down there on the bottom, that 800-824-5274 is our toll-free number. So if you need us at any time, just call that toll-free number, and they can connect you with me personally, or there's my email right there, mdonaldson@csal.bbb.org. I know I've gone through a lot of information very, very quickly. I appreciate Will's invitation to present to y'all today. And if there's any questions, and I see there's a few comments over here, but if there's any questions, so I see some of the questions are on cryptocurrency. Let me see. I can go back to that. Y'all give me 1 second and I'll pull it up.
I've got it here for you.
Okay.
It was from Nanda Patel. She actually had to sign off early.
Okay.
She said, please tell us more about cryptocurrency and what form does it come in?
See, that's just it. You don't see anything. That's you never hold or touch anything. And I think that's the scariest thing. And I think she's the one. No, that was Rebecca mentioned it. It's the younger generation is participating in this. And I have a whole presentation on cryptocurrency that the BBB nationally has been pushing out, because, as I said, you know, it wasn't anything that was even being talked about. So it's just growing by leaps and bounds, and you have to be a lot more knowledgeable about digital assets. So to be frank, I would have to research a little bit more about cryptocurrency, and if I need to send some stuff to you to pass on to them, I'll be happy to do it, because I do have a whole big presentation on that, and it's not anything you can touch, as I said.
Yeah, it's kind of scary to think about too.
Okay, I see Rebecca. Yeah, it's very scary. And Will, did you think of anything that you wanted to ask while I was just kept going on and on?
Oh, no, and I have several comments. I mean, and what you spoke about a lot of was making it personal. I mean, you can tell people statistics and numbers all day, but until you say my mother or my dad or my grandmother, I mean, personally, my parents are older. Neither one of them are very technologically savvy. And actually, the phone call, hey, give us $200. Your computer has a virus on it. Call us right now. Give us remote access. That happened to my parents, but luckily, I was actually home at the time, and I was like, who are you on the phone with? And they were doing that, and they were working on giving them remote access. And I said no, and took the phone, hung the phone up, and kicked them out.
That's right. But they were about ready to do it, right?
Yes, but it's just because they don't know. I mean, and we get a lot of emails too. Actually, in office, it's weird because our president, he'll come across as Heather New, but it's not Heather. And he'll say, hey, I need you to do this right now, or hey, handle this right now. And it's important to know, if someone they talk to all the time, to understand, how they talk. And if it doesn't seem right, it's probably not them.
Well, there was a news anchor down here, and a bunch of email people in the news, the newsroom got a email from her saying she has a friend who'd gotten hurt or needed some help, or a family that needed some help from their church, and would they buy Walmart gift cards and all this. And so that people started walking up to her and said, what happened to this family? And she's like, what are you talking about? Well, didn't you send me an email? They had her real name, but there again, they had one little letter off, and she's sitting right there. There's no reason for them to tell her to meet them in the Walmart parking lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. And that's why I wanted to use the example of the Dollar General. I mean, there's Dollar Generals all over Alabama. This little clerk was at the store. Somebody called and said, the computer's broken. I'm having a problem getting this report. We need some cash from you. And the little girl went and cleaned out the cash register, and she got fired by somebody reporting to be a general manager. I mean, a district manager.
And all it takes most of the time is just a few minutes and some common sense and just, analyzing the situation. And
right. And going slow.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Well, I see a few more comments. Say, thank you. Rebecca Turner said thank you. She said she also reminds her students at JSU about the value in the secure sites and only uploading the resumes to those sites that have their personal information and numbers on them.
That's right.
She also said she'll be reaching out to you about some topics for the campus.
That is great. I can see Rebecca, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to reply back to her, but I'm trying to talk to you at the same time. So if you will share, if you will share her email with me, or I will share my email with, she can find mine, or you can send me hers as well. And as I said, there are a lot of other topics that we have. So if y'all have some other ideas that you would like for Will to offer, I do feel like we've gotten a lot of good comments in the chat room here. And so these are just things people need to be aware of. And Will, I think I learned something from you today, and that is to use more personal examples instead of a lot of statistics. Because yes, people do want the statistics, but it kind of rings a bell with them when it's their parents.
Mm-hmm.
Their money would have been gone out the door if you hadn't have been there.
It does. I mean, and especially, in Gadsden, smaller town, people, if you pull the heartstrings, you make it personal, people understand that too.
Yeah.
Just like the story you told with the members of that church. I mean, that touches home for a lot of people. So yeah.
Well, these people really thought this was a nice guy. And what the funny thing, these people were my brother's next door neighbor. I didn't know it. We were just sitting there talking, and they told me where they lived, and an attorney lived next door to them. But they were my brother's next door neighbor.
Wow.
And just taken for a couple $100. I don't know exactly how much they lost, but in the group they had lost a lot.
Yeah.
And the man had literally moved to Baldwin County and started doing it again.
I can't say enough about the Better Business Bureau, though. We have folks that come in the chamber in our lobby that call us that are wanting to handle this kind of stuff. I'm like, the chamber doesn't handle any of this, but I know who does.
That's right.
being able to have someone like yourself come on the call that I can refer people to, not directly to you, of course, but to you guys, you kind of know who's on the other end. So it's not just a 800 number phone tree. So
That's true. That's true. And right. So we're here to help y'all. BBB.org, 800-824-5274. Or like I said, you've got my email, and the presentation will be up later. So if anybody needs to get back to us, we're happy to help anybody. That's what we're here for.
Okay, Monde. Well, I don't see any more questions or comments in the chat. So I guess we'll wrap up with that. Thank you for everyone on the call. Thank you, Ms. Donaldson, for joining us. Look forward to some further partnerships with you and some more presentations. I know you and I talked the other day about some other topics, so we'll look at those and get on the same page and line up another day and time.
Okay, sounds great, Will.
Go ahead and stop the recording now.